Today's episode is with Katie McGarry, also known as Katie Curry. She's a registered holistic nutritionist, a bonus mom, and one of my favorite PEI songwriters. We talked about the challenges of the music industry and embracing creativity and art in our careers and everyday lives.
Art, I want you. Art, you make it pretty hard not to. And my heart is trying hard here to follow you, but I can't always tell if I ought to.
Hello, Katie McGarry.
Hello, Andrea McDonald.
Thank you for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
We know each other through playing music together in many different forms. Your band, Dan Curry's band, your Miranda Lambert tribute band.
Yeah.
I couldn't even count how many times we
lived together.
We were roommate. Yeah, just so many stages. But I don't really know what you were like as a kid. Like when did you start playing music? What was it like growing up in Belfast as a wee little songwriter?
Well, I didn't actually start writing songs till I was 18, but I picked up guitar when I was about 10, and just sort of like dabbled until I was 15 is when I really jumped into it. But I played piano a little bit. I always took piano lessons on and off. And I was one of those kids who would like take piano lessons for a couple of years and then stop. But I like to play by ear and all of that kind of stuff. And yeah, I was pretty shy, like painfully shy.
Even I have like the same story.
I know. I think that's why we get along so well.
Yeah.
We're like the shy, funny, weird kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I got back into playing piano or learning piano as a young kid because some of my friends had been continuing taking piano lessons and they were doing like way better in like the music festivals and so there was a little bit of competition there for me. But anyway.
A little jealousy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel it's so funny. My family always says they had no idea that I could sing or like anything because I would just get home from school, avoid my homework, take out my guitar in my room, quietly play, sing. You know, I'd pick out songs. I actually got the internet when I was 12. So I would print off songs and like just learn them on guitar with what little chords I knew. I mean, my mom played guitar, so that helped. Like she had taught me a lot of my basic chords and I just kind of ran with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I stopped taking piano lessons mostly because I didn't really want to play the classical music that we were being taught, and I just wanted to play rock and roll. Or really, I just wanted a way to sing.
Same.
I wanted, like, there was nobody that was going to accompany me around me, so I needed to figure out a way to do that myself. So, yeah.
I didn't want that either. I wanted to do it myself. Because, like, I mean, totally inspired by Cassandra of Wayne's World. No, truly.
Who wasn't?
Truly. So, yeah, that's probably where it all started, actually.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Kids of the 90s.
What can I say?
Yep. And so when I'm trying to remember when it was that Ashley Gorman asked me to have you open for my show or something, or
yeah, I was 19.
Yeah.
That was my first gig, I feel like. But was Megan Blanchard with me? And we opened for Stride?
Oh, maybe.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
Maybe that was the kind of the first time, and Ashley was like, "Hey, you should get her to open for you." And I was like,
I can't remember.
"Frig yeah." I don't remember either.
I know that I did like a guest singing spot was the Meds, but used to be, what were they called? Stolen Saints.
Right.
With Andy Keith and Danny Miles and Brendan Hansen. So I guested singing a couple songs with them. And then I think that's maybe you were doing sound that night or something, and I can't remember.
Yeah.
At Baba's. And then I was like avoiding any phone call I'd get from Babas because I was scared they were going to ask me to play a show.
And then how many times have you played at Baba's over the years, I wonder?
So many. So many. I don't even know how many, but one of the best spots around town.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
What do you think you were writing about? Do you remember what you were writing about, like the types of things back in when you were like 19, 20?
Well, I used to just like sit in, when I was in university, I would sit in the student union building, like cafeteria where they would have concerts and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would sit in there between classes and just like watch people and just like write down like lyrics, just like observing how people looked or what they were doing or how I felt, I guess, you know. And I feel like at that time in your life when you're like a young adult or like, you know, 18, 19, early 20s, you're like super I don't want to say unstable, but
I think that's safe to say that.
Safe?
Yeah.
Like you're partying a lot and you're like probably deprived of sleep and not eating right and like
and also just not understanding the world
yet. And you're like thrown into like, you know, 5 university courses and 3 part-time jobs and you're like trying to figure it out. So I think just like that played a role too, like probably being like more emotional and idealistic. And so my lyrics then were very like cryptic, you know, and then as I got a little bit, you know, more honed in on what I was doing and maybe more focused on like, say, country or folk music, the lyrics became a lot more clear. So then you're writing with country music, you're writing about heartbreak and drinking and, you know, whatever, loss.
Loss.
Yep. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it evolves.
Yeah. It's gotta if you keep at it, because I think if you keep at writing music, you get more and more closer to what you are really trying to say.
Yes.
You know, your message gets a lot clearer. You can focus in on what you are really trying to portray or say.
Yeah. I agree with that.
I also kind of feel like I kind of backed away from music maybe starting around 2017, 2018, 2019. I kind of started thinking, and I feel like you kind of slowly did sort of the same thing.
I did.
Maybe a few years later or kind of thing, but it seems like similar to me. Again, I think we seem to have the same story. That you were looking at what else can I do besides music, and what do I want? What do I want to focus on? Where do I want to put my energy into?
Yeah.
And a music career maybe wasn't the top, or maybe it never was the top thing for you. I don't know.
It was for a while. I think after Lloyd Doyle passed away, a lot of things changed for me because he was like pretty instrumental in like everything I did up until that point. And I didn't know what to do. And I think after COVID, I just like realized how much it stressed me out to try to like make ends meet with music and like also in the music industry. Music is beautiful and it's art, and it gets a little bit what's the word I'm looking for, bastardized by the music industry. Maybe, do you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of like comparison and opportunities given different ways. You have to be in the right place at the right time. I don't like to schmooze.
Yeah.
You know,
Me too.
You don't either.
No.
You know, like I cannot pretend to be something that I'm not. And I tried a little bit and I just realized it wasn't for me. Actually, you know what the pivotal moment for me was? Sorry. When I was in Halifax at the CCMA weekend, Canadian Country Music Awards weekend, I had to be there because I was in their Discovery Atlantic program. And Megan Blanchard was in their Discovery program for like Canada. So we were there, and, you know, I don't want to like put that down, but it just wasn't for me. Like, it just seemed like a lot of smoke and mirrors to me. And, you know, it wasn't for me.
Yeah, I definitely felt that from the very first start, from the first times I met any music industry professionals, really, except for Lloyd, because
Yeah.
Lloyd was real and
Yeah.
sweet, and he knew.
He knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But pretty much every other one I met
There's some exceptions.
was like, okay, so what's your thing?
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't have a thing. I was like, I
don't
write
know.
songs.
Yeah.
People like them.
Yeah.
That's it.
I like to sing them. You're like Garth. I'm waiting for. I like to play. You know, like, you know, what do I do?
So that whole and it's really unfortunate that became a part of music that pretty much every musician had to be a part of, and they had to play that game in order to get ahead, in order to make any money, to be able to live any kind of of stable life.
Yeah.
So, yeah. On that note,
way to go down that dark hole, Katie.
I'm pretty sure I brought us there.
Well, it's just like, I don't know, like that is a big reason why I don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And it's funny when people ask me like, are you playing much? Like, you know, and I just say, oh, just what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And it's like almost people are like, wow, like, I can't believe you're just saying that. Well, it's true.
I know, yeah.
You know,
I ran into someone today and got that same friggin' question, which I just love to get. So I know you do too.
Love it.
Are you still playing music? Yep.
It's
absolutely
one integral part of my life, but
it's kind of who I am as a person.
Yeah.
But what I said today, I was like, yeah, but you know, I'm not chasing gigs. If
I say the same
someone
thing.
asks me, you know, to play a nice gig, I will.
Exactly. If it's something I want to do, if it sounds nice, you know, I'll do it.
Yeah. Well, tell me about how music fits into your life now.
Now it's pretty much just like, I hear a song I like. I'm like, I want to learn that. I love playing other people's songs. I love it.
Me too.
I do occasionally sit down and write just little, you know what, I always struggled with settling myself down to write lyrics. Probably like, you know, my brain. You know what it's like, my brain. But melodies, like I always love coming up with cool melodies. That was always probably my strong suit, I would say.
You are really good at that.
Yeah, I like a good catchy vocal hook. Yeah. You know, which is why I kind of think I like latch on to certain songs that I hear. You know, I'm like, oh, that's so good. Like, you know, you can feel it. Yeah. Yep. So I think, yeah, like my music in my life right now is just like listening, playing songs I like, taking my guitar out a couple times a week. Should be playing more. My calluses aren't great.
Oh, mine are gone.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I actually just booked a show for July, and it's just a 30-minute set at the Surrey Show Hall. But I'm like, I should probably start trying to figure out now.
Right, because you'll like forget about it, and then like you're like, oh my gosh, it's 2 weeks away, and I should write a new song for that.
Exactly.
That's what I do. I'm going to write a new song for that show.
Or find that perfect cover song, right? That will just like, people will be like, oh, wow, I forgot about that song. It's so good. And it's so perfect for her.
Yeah. Oh, anyway. Yeah, I know. I have it's funny, like we were talking about like gigs we want to do. And last week I was in town, which I'm never in town anymore. And I ran into Todd McLean, and he was like, oh my gosh, Katie, this is like fate, because I need to add another person to my Earth Day show, Bill. Do you want to do it? This like
right place, right time.
Right? And it's just like volunteer, but it's like to raise money for the earth, of course.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of stuff that I like to do, you know?
100%.
something
Yeah.
that means something. Yeah.
Mm.
And I signed Dan up for it too.
To do a solo set or to accompany you?
To accompany me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it comes to sitting down to write a song, do you have a process for do you have to get in, like you said, you have to kind of settle yourself down. Are there certain tactics that you've used before to get in the zone, particularly probably when you were in the industry more and kind of needed to kind of get things?
I think I would just force myself, but you can tell when a song is forced and when it's not. I find even when you're performing it, you're you're not as passionate about it because it didn't just come out of the air and drop into your brain or your soul or whatever. So I think some songs you're just in the trenches a little bit with it and just trying to get it written. And then other songs, it's they come out in 15 minutes and you're where did that come from?
Yeah.
But I think something that always works for me pretty much is getting inspired by going to someone else's show.
Oh, yeah.
Same.
I couldn't even count how many times I went to see a show, probably at Baba's, probably even on a Tuesday night, and paid $5 at the door to see an amazing band that was on tour. And there may be only 10 people in the audience, but I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then you go home and
and you're staying up till whatever time. Yeah, writing that song. And I think that's, you probably have the same problem too. I just wouldn't do that anymore because I need to go to bed early because I get up early.
Same.
It's
yeah.
I don't give myself the same unstructured time as I did when I was younger. Yeah, and I think that affects my ability to write a song because I set parameters, right?
But that being said, I feel because you have been writing for a long time, you could probably sit down and write a song. And I'm kind of wondering, have you ever tried just what I call silly writing?
Yeah, I think I used to do that more when I was younger before I had a purpose.
Yeah.
Before someone was like, you're good at this, you should do this. When I was just writing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to do that more.
Yeah, it's an exercise that I do every once in a while just to kind of make sure that I understand that I can still write a song.
Yeah.
And I'll just write something that doesn't mean anything, essentially.
That's a good idea.
Just to finish a song.
I'm going to do that.
Really silly.
Yeah.
But it's so fun.
Yeah.
Because you forget how good you are at something because you want to write. When you have time to write, you want it to be the good stuff.
The quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one thing I've noticed for myself is that I can't really get to the quality sometimes unless I get through the silly stuff.
Yeah. The shit.
And the shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I keep telling people who are like, man, I wish I could write songs. I'm like, well, write songs then.
Just write them.
Just write them.
They might suck, but
you're going to have to write hundreds before you write a good one, maybe.
Yeah.
So just start doing it.
Yeah.
But also, just picking up guitar and learning a cover song that you like is super friggin' fun.
It's very soothing. It's very healing or something.
Do you think it's because you and I both grew up learning guitar and learning singing that way by singing other people's songs, that maybe it's a comforting kind of thing?
Yeah, probably.
Maybe.
It's like comfort food. And that is a way that I would soothe myself when I was, a sad teenager and whatever. And that's the thing. I'm just not that sad anymore.
Exactly.
No, I kind of like my life. So,
things are pretty great.
Things are good. Yeah.
World's shitty, but things are pretty
The world
great.
is a mess, but, things are okay right now. And that's all we have. So,
Do you do any other art forms regularly? Do you do any painting or drawing or poetry writing or?
I can. I do some poetry sometimes in my journal. Honestly, what I find creative for me because of my profession, baking and cooking and And that is really a creative outlet for me, and like designing meal plans and stuff like that for people, because, that's my job now,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So, I think that's like a creative outlet for me. But then personally, like that's sort of professionally, but then personally, we know that I love to garden and plant flowers and just like think and like decorate my home. Like I'm always like thinking of like how I want to style this or paint this, and you're much the same, I know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like just
Like an evolution. What's going to evolve next in the room or
exactly.
the place. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I've found like creative outlets that way. But definitely it always comes back to music, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's like sitting down at
Me
my
too.
keyboard or whatever.
Here's a question. Do you think that people playing music for money and fame and how music got so big and such a machine, do you think that killed some of the creativity in it, or killed it for some people, or made it harder for some people to make art?
I think anytime money or business gets involved, it kills a little bit of what it originally was, I think people feeling the need to monetize any creative endeavor will, kill a little bit of that creativity. Because then there's like this
Yeah.
other drive, instead of just like doing it because, you're innately driven to do it. Then there's like this external force, this like egoic force being like, someone said you were good at this, so you need to like make it a job or something,
Yeah. Like that's the only reason to do something.
Exactly. I think that totally like kills a little bit of that creative process.
And I feel like you and I have gone through like the generations that we've been alive. It's been like exploding of pop stardom kind of thing, and a whole lot of money being made, mostly by record companies, on people touring and on record sales and stuff like that. And now all of a sudden, especially in COVID, tours weren't happening. Streaming has taken over everything, and they're not paying anybody shit.
No, streaming is ridiculous. And I remember like when I was involved more, I was at like a workshop, and I remember one of the industry people saying Apple Music was just coming out. It was just about to come out, and they're like, like buckle up because this is going to change things. I was still selling CDs. I was bringing CDs to my industry meetings and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And my one sheet, like my, and they were like, this is going to change things. And boy, did it change things like very quickly.
Sure. It ruined careers. It
did ruin careers. And then COVID happened. And if you'll notice, if you look at, if you go to buy tickets for a big concert even, they're not even selling out. Like big names, they're not even like half full. Like it's wild.
Yeah, even when I was in Nashville in November and the Sturgill Simpson concert we were at was technically sold out.
Yeah.
They said there were a lot of empty seats in that place. Not a lot. Like I was like, but
shocking.
A few hundred probably. And I'm like, that can't be. How is it sold? Do people just not come? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
What is happening?
That's so weird, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a strange world right now. And honestly, like I feel like people just don't have the disposable income right now to spend on concerts and music. And like I noticed too, like even going to local shows, like, at the Trailside or whatever, like, yeah, sometimes the big names are like for sure sold out right away, or like, but it's like they're not, there was a boom there where it's like, if you didn't jump on a ticket, you're not getting a ticket. But now it's like, it seems to be a little more difficult to push shows. And even from my experience with pushing shows, it's like really hard to fill seats sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's discouraging for people. I think that's like,
yeah, I think it is because they feel like that is success in that sort of art,
right,
which is unfortunate because it's not necessarily.
No, it's not success in the real sense of the word. You know, like monetarily, which is like totally an external worldly factor. Yeah. It's successful and determines whether you're going to get booked again or whatever, but it doesn't mean anything for like how good you're, you know, how good you feel about your show, or like, you know, how much love you put into that song you wrote. Not even like, is the song good or not? Because like that's,
or even how other people perceive it. That doesn't.
It doesn't really
matter
matter. Yeah, none of it really matters. You know, I just think people's priorities have shifted a little bit because of the world right now, too. You know.
Yeah, I just hope that people can still look at art and creativity in an objective way and don't connect it to pop stardom or what have you, because there's so much fulfillment that a person can get from writing one song that can be way more fulfilling than playing a show to a bunch of drunks on a Saturday night.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's been times up at Baba's at 1:30 a.m. that I'm looking out at the crowd and I'm going, what are you doing?
What the hell am I doing? I know. Unless like that is your purpose. Like if you're like in a cover band and your job at that time is to entertain people partying, you know, that's a different thing.
That is totally different. Yeah. And that I actually quite like from time to time.
Yeah. It is fun.
It's so fun.
It's so fun to provide that for people. Like,
This was a nice talk.
It was really nice. My music life is kind of like pretty stagnant, but
your creative life.
But my creative life is not. You're right. That's right. That's right.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
I wondered what would be the worth of my words in the world. If I write them and then recite them, are they worth being heard? Just because I like them, does that mean that I should mic them and see what might unfurl? And I think of the significance of my opinions here. Is it significant to be giving them? Does anybody care? Just because I'm into this, does that mean that I should live like it? And really, do I dare? Point of my art in this life. If I make it, will someone take it and think that it's genuine? Would they be glad that I did, cause they got something good out of it? Would they leave me and be any more inspired? And I question the outcome of the outpouring of myself. If I tell everyone my stories, would this keep me healthy and well? Would it give me purpose and to this world some sort of service? Is it worth it? How could I tell? here to follow you, but I can't always tell if I ought to. Art, I want you. Art, you make it pretty hard not to. And my heart is trying